Hi guys, how are y'all today? Daneaya Z here, June 3rd, day 3. And I'd like to start by saying thank you. Thank you to everyone who takes the time to watch and to listen to my story, to comment, and to encourage me to keep going. Thank you. I really, really appreciate it. This is interesting because, well, I love to talk, right? I talk for a living. I really enjoy talking. I was a server for 20 years and talked a lot. But I'm finding this to be different. So I did get a little bit of feedback from somebody saying that, when they would start watching the video, the audio and the video were synced, but by the end of it they weren't. And I gotta say, I don't know why it's like that. I really don't. I record these on my phone and then I upload them from my phone. I upload it to Instagram, to Facebook, and I'll be uploading everything to my YouTube channel today as well. So if it doesn't work on one platform, you can try another. And if it doesn't sync on all of them, well, mind blown, don't know. But you can always connect with me. My link is in my bio. You can send me a message. You can send me a text, whatever you like. And I'm happy to send you the actual video itself because I'm keeping all these. So anyways, a lot of these that I do in one take. I'll sit in a quiet space and ask for the right words to flow through me. And it happens easily. I don't know if you guys heard my cat or not, but she might meow again. But this one, and it's because I'm going to talk about, smoking weed. And it's really interesting, the ball of emotion I have going on in my solar plexus. You guys can't see, but it's just underneath my ribs. And it's just like this kind of, it's contracted and I feel contracted. And I've had to record this a few times. So I'm not going to re-record it. I'm just going to go with it and we'll put it out there and we'll see what happens. But I think the reason I feel this way is how I would name it, is vulnerable. I feel really vulnerable. Sharing this part of my story. Because obviously I haven't made peace with it yet. What a wonderful gift. I know what my work is. I started smoking weed when I was 14. First time I got high was at work. I worked at Smitty's on the Cloud Trail. And oh my goodness. I will get through this. I was a bus girl at Smitty's in Calgary on the Cloud Trail South. And my first boyfriend worked there. That's how I met him. And he was a few years older than me. And he smoked dope. And I remember the first time I saw him high, I promised myself I'd never do that. And yeah, I didn't keep that promise very long or very well. And the first time I got high, it was at work. It was a really quiet night. And those of us that were there, we all went out back and we all smoked a joint. And I remember feeling peace is what come to mind when I sat with this yesterday and went, wow, how did I feel? Why? How did I ask myself all the hard questions? I coach people to do that. You want to know why you do what you do? Ask yourself the really hard questions, the questions that cause all this, and then just see what comes up. So anyways, what came to me as I sat with this was I felt peace. I felt held. And I felt relaxed. And then, and of course, I laughed. It was goofy. It was funny. I remember being really self-conscious and paranoid almost because I had to count back change from a $50 bill and I was high and it was like, I forgot how to count. But anyways, when I went home that night, I slept well. And I didn't know I didn't sleep well until I slept well. And And that, I found that really interesting. I remember waking up the morning after going like, oh my God, that was the best sleep I think I'd ever had. And so I think that's probably what led me to getting high again. That and the fact that my boyfriend did, and I was just looking for acceptance, right? Because I was looking for acceptance. And as I smoked more and more weed, I began to notice that it slowed my brain down. It slowed my thoughts down. And for those of you that know me really well, know that my brain goes really fast, like really fast. And I didn't have any tools to know how to slow it down. And I do now, but I didn't then. And so pot was a great way for me to slow down my brain. And as I moved through my story and, carried on with my life and continue to smoke weed and smoke more and more weed and blah, 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 when I had my children, my kids never saw me smoke. They never saw me smoke cigarettes. They never saw me smoke weed. I can sit here and say they never saw me. And in all honesty, there's probably a couple of times where I was busted, but it was something that I kept hidden. And I hid the fact that I smoked weed from a lot of people. I was never proud of it, which I think is where all that emotion came from, is like, here I am, blah. But I was never proud of myself for that. I had a really harsh judgment on myself for what I was doing. And as I moved through my life, I said that I haven't touched weed. It's probably been about 4 years. I had been, on again, off again for quite a few years before that, because I knew it was something I didn't want to continue to do. And what really did it for me was I became a member of a spiritual group, and I really wanted to be on the ceremony team in this group. And this is actually where I met some of my closest people, Carla, Paul, Roy, Nicola, and others, but those are the ones that I am still in really close contact with. And in order for me to be on this team, I had to quit using all intoxicants, along with no meat, no onions, no garlic, but that's not what we're talking about. So I had quit. By that time, I had already been a non-smoker for quite a few years. Giving up the meat was easy. It was something I always wanted to do. Garlic and onions, that was a learning experience. And the weed, I just walked away from it because I wanted to be on the ceremony team more than I wanted to get high. And at that moment, I only went back to it a couple of times. And it's interesting because it wasn't long after that happened that I found myself in hypnosis, right? So I've become a Reiki master, I've become a breathwork practitioner, and then my world blew up. And then, it really did. Like, I walked away from my job. I had no idea what the hell I was going to do. That's another tangent off my story that I'll talk about another time. But the weed, that was really the last thing that I had to walk away from, and I wanted to. So I walked away from it, and then I found hypnosis, and from there I found NLP and body talk and all those things. But it was the hypnosis that helped me to make peace with the emotions. See, when I got high, I was numb. When I got high, I didn't have to feel things. And in the home that I grew up in, while there was no physical abuse, I was not taught to feel my emotions. I was taught that it wasn't good to feel bad. It wasn't good to feel bad. So if I was angry, especially if I was angry at my mom, I thought I was a bad person. I thought I was bad. And so I grew up ignoring those emotions, judging myself for having those emotions, and I would just stuff and not feel them. And when I moved into a space where I began to feel my feelings, it was like, it's kind of all I have to say. Like, I am a very emotional person, and I was even more so before I learned how to work with them, right? How to use them and how to understand them and how to sit with them. And so, yeah, smoking weed was a really easy way for me to not feel things, because when I was high, everything was fine and I didn't have to feel. Feeling for me was just fucking uncomfortable. And how hypnosis and NLP helped me do that is they gave me the opportunity to pull back and look at things with different eyes. It's like when you watch a movie, you can see the whole picture, you know, or how I explain it is I want, you know, imagine floating up to the top of the room and you can look down, and as you look down, you see the whole thing, not just the one thing. And when you're in that space, especially in hypnosis and using NLP, because you're in your subconscious mind, you're able to get a bigger picture, you know, and see things from a different point of view. And it allowed a space for me to let that emotion drain away. And when the emotion drained away, it became just a part of my story. There was no more emotional charge to it. And if there's no more emotional charge to it, there's no reason to numb myself against it, right? It became then a learning experience and something that I could gain from and move forward with. And that's how I wish to show up for anybody that wants to do that kind of work, right? Substance addictions or not, it's man, when we're hanging on to stuff and it begins to press because it needs to get out, it can cause a lot of interesting shit. So there you go. I've taken up a lot of your time today. Well, 11 and a half minutes. Thank you for your time if you're still watching. Thank you for holding my space for me and allowing me to move through that. That was a beautiful gift. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I don't know what I'm going to talk about tomorrow, but I'll show up tomorrow. I'm going to get more consistent with what time I share all of these. You know, this is a whole new thing for me. This is a way outside of my comfort zone, being this open and this vulnerable and learning about this new about technology all at the same time. Whew. That's all I gotta say about that. Anyways, beautiful beings, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. I love you all so, so, so much. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.